What's up everybody, it's Victon here with my first League starter build guide for 3.13 Ritual League. And this is actually going to be the build that I plan on League starting with, so I'm pretty excited to share this one with you guys. Now, before we get started, I want to mention that this is going to be a brief overview of this build and what I'm considering a Blitz build guide. So a short and simple, just getting everything what you need kind of guide to get you rolling as soon as possible. I do have a long, fully in-depth guide for this exact same build already up, so I'm going to have a link in the description for that one if you want to dive more into this build. In that video, I'm going to cover absolutely everything you need to know, from a full passive skill tree walkthrough, very in-depth, to all the gear and skills we're going to be using, and a full in-depth leveling guide as well on how to level up the character in a fresh league. And then we're going to go over the custom loot filter I made for leveling up, and lastly I actually walk you guys through the purchase order of gear, and I'm going to give you guys links to the trade website for all the items you need, just to make it as easy as possible for you guys. With that being said, for this video, like I said, I want to keep it short and simple and get you guys everything you need to know to kind of just start destroying content as soon as possible. Basically, this build is incredibly cheap, and you can absolutely play this solo self-found, in hardcore or softcore, all totally fine. You have very high block chance, good physical damage mitigation, easily cap your elemental and chaos resistance. And you're going to be a super speedy boy with a really high movement speed, so that's pretty nice. I always like builds like that. A decent life pool with just over 5k life in really bad gear, and best of all, we're going to be in just under 13 million Shaper DPS. That compared to the numbers you're getting with the League starter builds for spectres or carrion golems right now, that's more than double what those builds are doing right now, and it costs a fraction of the cost to build the character. Not to mention that the in-game version of the build is going to be jumping up to over 20 million Shaper DPS, and it's probably like 3 times as tanky with 60,000 armor, just under 9,000 energy shield, just to name a couple things. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is just the League starter build after all. Also, as always, before we get into the guide, if you end up enjoying this guide, do consider subscribing or hitting that like button for more content just like this. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, I have a link to my Patreon where you can subscribe and get some juicy benefits like access to my sub-only Discord, where we have an awesome community of folks in there just like you, ready and willing to chat about all sorts of builds. And I'm personally in there all the time doing build reviews for people. That, or come by my Twitch channel, which is also linked below, and just come and hang out or ask as many questions as you guys want. I'm always happy to help. Yeah, without further ado, let's hop into the path of building. So first thing we're going to talk about here is, I'm not going to go over the specific full tree here, but I do want to show you guys that I actually have a kind of a leveling path for you guys. So in all of my path of buildings, if you just come down here to the left side, you can click these right here, and it's going to show you how to level up the build from start to finish. Same thing with your passives over here for Guardian. As you level up, it'll be adding them, and you can just kind of see how to level up the build, like I said, from start to finish. So I'm not going to go over every single node, but I'll kind of point out just a couple things. Basically, we're just getting as much life as possible. We're getting some nice minion damage right here very early on. I think the start right here is actually going to be really strong with lots of life and some decent minion damage as well. So I think the start's going to be very strong for a League start. After that, these are pretty important nodes right here, because as a minion skill with the duration tag, getting a lot of duration for your sentinels, which are your minions that we're going to be spawning, is pretty strong. So it's going to make it go from, I think the base duration's 20 something seconds up to around 40 something seconds with these nodes right here. So pretty strong, just more life. We do get some reduced mana reservation as well, because as you can tell over here, we're going to be a little bit short on mana, so it does help. And also right here you can see I get deep thoughts for some mana as well. So pick those up. You might want to end up using a enduring mana flask to help out with the mana cost of dominating blow, but maybe not. We'll see. That might be enough. I think it is going to be enough, but if you want to use a mana flask, feel free to just help out. You also notice we have some cluster jewels here. Basically what I've done here is I've made these cluster jewels as easy as possible to roll. This being a League starter guide, all it's got on there is Rotten Claws, which did get a nerf, but don't worry at all. It used to be 20%, now it's 12%. It really didn't affect us at all. Basically, if you look at calculations here, we're still at 100% impale chance, so really not a big deal. So we got those two, and also for our small jewels, we're going to be going with Renewal and Feasting Fiends. And this, the Renewal did get a little bit of a nerf as well. And just so you know, the POB is a little bit wrong here. It's actually minions have 5% chance to deal double damage, not the 6. It used to be 10, so it is a little bit of a nerf, but it is still pretty good. That's why we're picking up Feasting Fiends here, because that is going to give us a little bit of damage as well as some leech and some life for our minions. So just a little bit of damage there is going to be helpful, whereas we used to might have gone with Dread March, which was a defensive node. Now we're going to go with an offensive node just to help out with some extra damage. Very important here, I kind of missed this one, is a Resolute Technique. You're going to be getting this pretty early on, right around the time that you actually pick up Dominating Blow. You want to make sure you have Resolute Technique. Your hits can't be evaded. So the way that Dominating Blow works is anytime you are killing monsters, so for example, normal, the white monsters, you're going to spawn your sentinels, so your minions from Dominating Blow. Or anytime you are attacking a boss. They actually changed that a couple leagues ago to be much better, so that during boss fights you can actually be spawning your minions as well, and you don't need to kill things. So with that being said though, we need to be able to actually hit our enemies, and if you didn't have this, your hit chance would be quite low. So it is very important to go ahead and pick this up so you have 100% hit chance and you're spawning as many minions as possible. So very basic overview of the tree. One other thing is that we have Ravenous Horde as our anointment. It's not too bad of an anointment to get there. It's only 2 opalescence and a verdant, so no gold or silver or anything like that, so not too bad. And for all of our jewels, very simple jewels here, just a little bit of life, and minions deal increased damage if used a minion skill recently. Nothing too crazy. We only have a couple jewel sockets here. The other one being, or the last one being Conqueror's Efficiency, which you actually pick up while leveling. This is in the Act 5, I think, quest line, somewhere in there. You pick this up, so make sure you get this. It does help us out with our mana. So yeah, that is the tree. Let's go ahead and talk about our ascendancy changes. Not too much changed with the patch notes. We came out pretty even, and it is just very strong in general. Harmony of Purpose is going to be your first nodes that you pick up, and nearby enemies cannot gain power, frenzy, or endurance charges. Not too much of an effect for us, but it is a little bit nice. But the big one here is you and nearby party members share power, frenzy, and endurance charges with one another, and you have a 20% chance to gain those endurance charges. Basically, you're going to have full endurance charges, power charges, frenzy charges all the time, and you're sharing those with your minions who are also going to have full charges, so it's a ton of damage. After that, we're going to be picking up a Radiant Crusade, so some nice elemental resistances, as well as Onslaught for you and for your minions. So Onslaught is 20% increased attack and movement speed. So again, we want to be a zoom boys, right? So that's going to be a lot of movement speed and a lot of attack speed for both us and our minions, as well as 10% more damage for our allies. So very good for that. And for our third node here, we're going to get Unwavering Crusade, which is just more attack, cast, and move speed. The area effect doesn't really help us that much, but also this is very big. Nearby allies intimidate on hit for 4 seconds. Very, very big. Basically, you would have to have gotten Awakened Melee Fizz before, which is expensive in order to get that Intimidate. Now you get it absolutely for free early on. Very, very strong. And with Bastion of Hope, we're getting a ton of block chance, stun immunity, and block chance for our minions as well, for both attack and spell dodge. I'm sorry, attack and spell damage. And you can see down here, we actually have capped block, as well as a nice little bit of spell block chance. So pretty nice for our defenses. So moving on to our skills here, I'm not going to go over all the skills specifically, but you can come in here and check this out. This is all the skills that you're going to be wanting to use in the final version of the build. And like I said, there is a leveling guide as well that's going to help you know exactly what skills to get as you're leveling up. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, just come in here. The main thing, of course, is just Dominating Blow, which we're going to be using Dominating Blow, Brutality, Impale, Multi-Strike, Melee Fizz, and Minion Damage. I did want to point this out here. If we go over to, actually let's stick on Dominating Blow. This is not a budget friendly item, but it is really cool to just let you guys know, because I think it's just crazy. The Phantasmal Dominating Blow, if you want to save up some currency, this is fantastic. Maximum 2 summon normal Sentinels of Dominance. That's insane. That's like 22-23% more damage to your skill. We used to have 9, and with that we'll have 11. That's crazy. That's so much damage for an alt quality gem. So it's probably going to be expensive, but I did want to point that out just so you guys can have something to aim for on that one. So moving on to our items. Nothing too crazy here. It's actually incredibly cheap to get all this stuff. I think that, let's see, what's the most expensive item we have over here? Probably the Lionized Remorse. That's probably going to be like 10 to 15 chaos. That's probably your most expensive item. And if you're playing solo self-found, or if you don't want this, you can just get any shield absolutely, and you'll be totally fine. For our weapon, I did want to point this out though, because you'll notice at the very bottom there that Guardian buff. So I manually put that line in there. That's not part of this normal weapon. And the reason I have minions have 40% increased attack, cast, and move speed is because on our Guardian passives over here, you can see the onslaught that actually doesn't calculate correct in Path of Building. So I had to manually put that, as well as this one right here. It doesn't calculate. So I manually put those on this item, and that's what that is. So it's not normally like that. I get tons of questions of people asking, but that's what that is. Other than that, I'm really just getting a super basic gear. The helmet has some life for our minions, but other than that, it's just life and resistances and chaos resistance where you can, because we do end up getting 75% chaos res. So that's pretty nice. Other than that, just the Darkness and Throne, which is very basic. And then you're going to have your basic flasks. And like I mentioned earlier, we have our basic minion jewel with the 18% increased damage. I think it's 15 to 20% is the roll, but very basic jewels here. This is going to be super, super cheap. You can do this solo self-found. I'm pretty sure you can even farm Darkness and Throne self-found with the new Atlas stuff. Super, super easy. And Rumi's Concoction, you don't have to use that if you don't want. It just helps with block chance. So very, very easy gear here to get. Day one, for me, this minion damage right here is very accurate. What I'm going to have probably at the end of day one, which is 1.4 million DPS per sentinel, and we have 9 of them, so that's just under 13 million, and that's not counting our other sentinels, because we're spawning sentinels from magic monsters as well. We get 3 of those, and we also get 1 sentinel from rare monsters. And fun fact with the rare monsters, when you kill rare monsters, you actually get to get their buffs as well. So let's say you kill a rare monster with the haste aura, you actually get that haste aura for a while too. Super, super cool little benefit there. So yeah, so that is the tree, the skills, and the items. Let's go ahead and move over to the notes section that I have for you guys on leveling up. So again, I'm not going to go over this specifically. If you want the full kind of guide on how to level this up, definitely check out that video in the link for my full guide. But I do want to at least show you guys that this is here. You can come to the notes section and basically follow this the whole way through leveling up from start to finish. It's got every single skill that you need from start to finish, and it tells you kind of what your, let's see down here, right? So this should be what your setup looks like at this point. So it's very detailed and basically everything that you need to know. And if you come down a little bit further here, extra bits. So we do have our loot filter specifically custom made for this guide. Pick that up if you want to have an easier time getting the colors for all of these links. And then I also have links to Path of Exile trade website for some of your most important items. We do use a Bright Beak. That is the only item that we're going to be using leveling up. That's the only thing. It's like what, an alchemy or a chaos orb. That's going to be my first purchase, is the Bright Beak for leveling. So I'm going to get that as soon as possible. I think you can get it at level 20. I'm going to pick one up right at level 20, and it's going to carry me so hard because it has such high attack speed. And that was one of the issues with leveling with Dominating Blow, is you're attacking a little bit slow to get out your minions, but getting a Bright Beak absolutely solves that. So the tabula, the mapping weapon, all this good stuff, and actually have, let's go ahead and hop over and I'll show you guys. So this is what I was going over. The full guide is what we were going over all this, but we're not going to go over that now. Basically just know that it's in the notes section. Here's that leveling filter, and then here's all of these that you can see that I have. I did want to mention this though. I've made this easy for you guys for the jewels, so you guys can just make this search right here, and for your medium and for your large cluster jewels, I've actually made it easy for you guys. Very simple here. I won't go into the full in-depth thing, but if you have the eye level of certain item, you want to make sure that you're staying under, for example, like the 68, so that you're not having extra things that you can roll on it, and it take a lot more alterations to roll. So I've already done that for you guys, and here is the filter that I've made, so you guys can just use this. As you can see right there, you just hit search, and that's the exact jewel that you want. Super easy. Get it, start crafting, and you can get those jewels that you want. As you can see, here's the rest of them over here, and that pretty much covers all of the links that we have for you guys. Like I said, I wanted to make this build super easy, super short, and just get you guys everything that you need to know. We did show in the very beginning the gameplay footage as well, and just so you know, that gameplay footage was from, I think it was from the Flashback League, when I did a test build on all of this. And basically what we did there, it was not a Guardian, so we're actually going to have about the same DPS, but we're going to be more tanky than we were in those clips that you saw. But same thing there, I had like absolutely zero gear. I think I spent like maybe 20-30 chaos on all the gear in the gameplay showcase, and as you could see, I killed Minotaur in under like what, 1.5 seconds. The damage is just so crazy, especially for a day one build, and Guardian's just going to be even better for damage. So really looking forward to this, guys. If you guys do end up planning on playing this, definitely let me know in the comment section and how it's doing as you level. If you guys are enjoying it, what you're not enjoying about it, and if you don't play this, what are you guys going to be playing? I'm very curious to hear kind of what everybody's been doing. So let me know in the comment section. And just so you guys know, I'm also going to be streaming. So like I said, this is going to be my league starter. So if you are interested in kind of seeing how I level up this character, or you want to follow along as you level up, definitely check me out on Twitch. And I'm going to be streaming the whole weekend 24/7 and pretty frequently after that. So you're going to be able to see me level up this character from start to finish on stream. So definitely check that out if you're interested. Yeah, guys, that's all I got for now. I have a whole bunch of other league starter guides coming out, so definitely click that notification bell if you haven't already, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. And that's all I got for now, guys. Thanks for stopping by, and I will catch you on the next one.